Un tempo, Fort Lee ospitava una comunità italo-americana molto più numerose. Oggi circa un quarto dei residenti è origine coreane, mentre un quarto su 10 sono dichiara origini italiane. Eppure la festa di San Rocco mantenere viva le tradizioni fondate da immigrati calabresi quasi un secolo fa. Oggi Fort Lee è molto diversa dalla comunità che ha fondato questa società nel 1927. Così, quasi un secolo dopo, ho voluto capire chi mantiene viva questa tradizione e che cosa significa oggi questa festa per queste persone. Okay, so Rocco, you are a volunteer or member here at St. Rocco?
I'm a member of the St. Rocco Society.
And how long have you been a member of St. Rocco Society?
I've been a member of the St. Rocco Society for a better part of 10 years. My father was a member, my grandfather was a member, so it goes back to probably the early 60s.
And do you have memories of coming here as a kid?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, my grandmother, this is Main Street, Fort Lee here. This is, it's always been on Main Street for a little while. We did it on Martha Washington Street. And my grandmother lived on Main Street. So yeah, since I was a little kid, I was able to walk. I've been coming to this feast.
And how has the feast changed over the course of the years?
The feast has gotten a little bit smaller, but still, running strong. Demographics change in the town. This used to be a heavily Italian town, along with Cliffside Park and Fairview. A lot of the people in the society come from a certain part of Italy. It's on the tip of the boot. It's called Bagnara Reggio Calabria, and that's where we're from. And then migrated here and brought the tradition of the feast in St. Rocco to Fort Lee.
Do you still have relatives over there?
Yeah, I still have relatives there in Bagnara, and we have and got relatives all over here in New Jersey.
Very nice.
Yeah.
And what is something that you want, newer members to carry on about this tradition?
Bringing in the younger group has been great. We've got some younger members here. It's grandsons of grandfathers that have been part of the society, and you want to keep the tradition going. We try to do a lot for the local community. We raise money. We do stuff with charities. We go to food banks. We have a toy drive every year for the Hackensack Joseph Zanzari Children's Hospital. Mm-hmm. We do coat drive, so for winter coats. And like I said, we try to help the local communities, anyone that's in need.
It's beautiful. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Oh, my pleasure.
Thank you.
Venerdì sera, durante la festa, ha piovuto molto. Quindi ho aspettato che passasse il temporale nella cappella insieme ad alcuni membri della Società di San Rocco. Abbiamo parlato e ho imparato di più sulla figura che ha ispirato questa tradizione, San Rocco.
Yeah, so this is San Rocco, or Saint Roch. He was a middle-aged, originally came from money, he came from wealth, family nobility. And he felt the calling from God to serve the poor. So he gave away most of his money and belongings to plague victims at the time. The plague was running through Europe rampant. And during his ministering to the poor and the plague-stricken, he actually contracted the plague himself. If you look at his leg, you see the wound. So he went out into the forest to isolate, right? We recall COVID when we were all isolating and 6 feet apart and all that. So he went out into the woods to not contaminate anyone else. And while he was out there, he was starting to die, from dehydration, from hunger. And then a dog, after praying, a dog started arriving every day with bread. And he doesn't know where the dog came from. So the dog saved his life. He eventually recovered from the plague. but now he's known as the patron saint of dogs, as well as several villages throughout Italy, Bagnata in Calabria, Potenza and Basilicata, and other ones as well. So he became like a hero for his selflessness and his ministering to the sick and poor. That's why you'll see him like that, dressed like that. So.
And he's the patron saint to
Bagnata in Calabria, where the people from this town, mostly Cliffside Park, Fort Lee, where they settled, they came to America, came here, and they brought their saint with them on the boat. So, and this is unique because most people will bring their saints with them and put them in their local parish, but this mutual aid society was founded to help the immigrants, and they created their own chapel, which is it's exceedingly rare. Most of these structures like this have been closed down, have gone defunct as the later generations Americanized.
Volevo intervistare in italiano il vicepresidente della Società di San Rocco, Rocco Palea, e l'ex presidente Phil Arfuso, ma all'inizio ho fatto un po' di confusione con l'italiano. Quindi abbiamo continuato in inglese e ho imparato qualcosa in più sulla Società di San Rocco e su quello che fa per la comunità.
All right. So you guys are volunteers here at St. Rocco or members of the St. Rocco Society?
We are members of the society.
And how long have you been members?
I've been a member for, 32 years.
And how long have you been a member?
I think 41 years. Yeah. I joined when I was 20 years old.
And you came to the feast when you were kids, and were your family involved?
Oh, yeah. My grandfather was past president of the society many years ago. So this is something I remember every summer of my life.
What's the best memory you have of coming to the feast?
It's just the camaraderie between our members, which is great. Another thing that I like, the community gets to gather here. The Fort Lee community, people that moved out that were originally from Fort Lee and have their roots in the St. Rocco Society, they come back, and it's great. And our Sundays, between our Mass and our processions, it's always a wonderful time.
Trying to keep the tradition alive for St. Rocco.
Has it changed over the years, like from like when you guys were growing up? Like, did you see?
Yeah, I mean, from a technology standpoint, that definitely has changed. But we try to keep a lot of the laws are the same that we have within the bylaws within the organization. We're bringing in a lot younger members. We're actually going after the grandsons and whatnot. Like we're back. Let's say my grandfather wouldn't look at us and say, "Hey, you got to join St. Rocco's." We're just trying to keep it alive, keep the organization going.
And how do you get newer members to join? Like, is it through them coming to the feast with their families, or do you use technology to advertise like what you guys are doing? How do new members find out about St. Rocco's?
It's usually our society. The new members are usually somebody that has a parent, a grandparent, or a friend. So it's kind of like we replenish our stock internally, if you will.
Of course, yeah. And where are your families from? Like
from Calabria, Italy.
So yeah,
Southern Italy.
The majority of our society is from the Reggio province of Calabria, in a specific area. We have about 5-6 towns. The majority of our families all hail from, and the reason why our people brought St. Rocco to Fort Lee, in our area there's a shrine to St. Rocco within the immediate area where our families come from, so they brought that tradition of honoring St. Rocco from Calabria to Fort Lee.
And do you still have relatives in Calabria, or does your whole family come?
No, a lot of us still have relatives in Calabria. Majority of them are here, but we still have family down there.
I was just there with I have all my second cousins there because my grandparents were the only ones from their prospective families at that time to immigrate to the United States. So my dad, God rest his soul, he still has a lot of his family there, and I was blessed just to go visit with them.
And finally, so what is the most important, like what traditions do you want to see carry on? What's the most important traditions that you want to see carried on?
I think, first of all, I think so respecting the past and trying to keep the past alive as much as we can by bringing in the younger kids and the traditions of the chapel itself and the feast. Naturally, things have changed over the years. The feast has gotten bigger. We were allowed to do fireworks at some point in time. Way back when we weren't, when we first started. And it's all different. When our forefathers started this, it was a bunch of people that migrated here. They didn't, know the technology. They didn't have the schooling that we had here as their sons and grandsons. And so it was a lot different. They built the music bandstand every year for the feast. Now we use the one from the borough. So things like that, little things like that. Well, not as big back then, but we try to keep, like I said, that music end of it is important. We have entertainment every night, the tradition of having the Mass every Sunday. So again, we try to keep all of those still there, and different flares, new things now. The church got redone, 5-7 years ago, something like that. We redid the church.
From our perspective, we hold pretty close to the founder's original idea was to be a service organization, initially for the community, a mutual aid society. But now that has morphed for us to be more of a charitable organization for outside groups. So that was the first thing. And another very important thing is that during the month of August, every year, we honor our patron Saint Rocco. And that was what was the founding members' wish, to maintain our Italian Catholic traditions here in New Jersey, here in America, and I'm proud because, like Rocco says about technology, everybody sees what everybody's doing now around the world, whether it be YouTube or Facebook, TikTok, and we get a lot of compliments from people that we know in different societies within the States and also back in Italy. So we know that we're doing a good job.
That is very cool.
And that's what they're starting to do now in Italy. Technology's there as well. So, they're using that technology where, again, in the old days, they didn't have it.
Yeah.
Now anybody around the world, we can see the feast in Italy.
And I know I said that was the final question last time, but one more question, I'm so sorry, is what makes the community, the Italian community here in Fort Lee so special? I know you guys mentioned that you are not just helping your own community, but you're helping outside of your community as well. Is that something that you guys really pride yourself on? Because to me that seems
of course
very special.
That's what, really this was all about. It was just trying to fundraise and help those people in need. And, nowadays it just seems that there's a lot more need probably than there was years ago.
Yeah.
And again, so with all the, like Phil mentioned, all the different things that we try to do to help different organizations, that's what we do. That's why we do this feast, so we can make money.
Yeah, it's listen, to all the other members that are intimately involved and work so hard, like Rocco and a few others, a bunch of others, I should say. It's a lot of work. Okay, and it's also, we throw a little bit of a party for the people that come back. For me personally, it's very important that we just don't disappear. A lot of these organizations, mutual aid societies that started so many years ago are no longer here, right? But we've stayed strong, if you will, and we've worked hard. And it's our 97th year, so we've been blessed with that.
And we hope that we've instilled in our sons, the same thing, that they can pass it on to their sons, and hope that they all just keep coming back. When I pass, I hope my sons are here, and then my grandkids, and it continues on as long as we can.
It's a beautiful tradition. Thank you so much, and congratulations on the 97th year of St. Rocco's Fest.
Thank you.
Buona festa a tutti.
Buona festa.
Buona festa, grazie.